Hi everybody, my name is Khaya Mthethwa and welcome to Elevate. And today we're being joined by a good friend, a great brother from here in KZN who's doing incredible work, like KZN, of course, across the country as well. He's none other than industrial therapist, industrial psychologist,
Yes.
Obaba Sabelo Gumede. My brother, thank you.
Say, how
welcome.
are you? Thank you so much. It's a pleasure.
Yeah.
You know what? Thank you for having me, and we appreciate this opportunity. As cloud therapist, like you indicated, that's the company that I'm heading. It's here in Durban.
Sure.
We really are, a new age psychologist.
That's right.
In our approach now, we go about in doing therapy and creating space for people and normalizing space for therapy. Yeah.
Every time I talk to you, there's always some sort of insight that you have, and it's a lot of people like to sound deep. And try and but I think it just oozes out of you.
Sure.
What you do, passionate.
Yes.
And this is your life.
Yes.
Where did it start from? Where did the passion for helping people start from?
Well, I think lento psychology really started. I'm from Makhaya, Ghana, and when I was growing up, there were a lot of people that were just accepted. I've always asked myself, so there's just no help for them out there. So those were just questions that I was struggling with as I was going. And when I then reached grade 12 and I met someone who had, kind of interest in me, and they said, I don't think you can be a good psychologist. What is that? And then, they told me about it. I started researching, and then ultimately I applied, and I fall in love with it.
Good.
That's
very, very good.
Yeah.
Did you, as someone who studied psychology, did you think you needed psychology? Do you think you needed therapy when you were studying it? Because I always sit back and look at psychologists and you see, when I started it, was for me helping others. Sure.
But now, when you are, into the process and you see a number of people and you start weighing on you, because you realize firsthand, people are really going through issues.
Sure.
So that weighs on you. And there are cases, they actually range, some are, mild, some are severe, some are moderate severe, some are actually, just mind-blowing.
Sure.
And you then have to see other psychologists, to debrief and talk about these issues. But of course, without having to disclose that, Khaya is going through this,
Sure.
This is what they shared with me, and etc. Just to debrief and also get what is it they are dealing with in their space and etc. And that then kind of help you to weigh off from the issues that you go through it. Yeah.
Very interesting. Why is it so important to go back to those formative years or the upbringing yomuntu check ukuthi into enormalizing?
Yes.
Why is it so important to go back lapho ukuthi kwenzakaleni with history yomuntu so that sizokwazi, because we can deal with umuntu musu kushaya mhlamba boshwe but umguqula umuntu ngokubopha ukuthi njengoba usumbophile nje
you are merely scratching the surface.
So why is it so important to dig deeper and find out ukuthi bekwenzakalani kwi background yomuntu?
I always try to simplify it like this. Umuntu mayizalwa is like an empty program, right? And the empty program then needs programs for it. A cassette.
Correct.
Exactly. A cassette. Idinga content ukuze sikwazi ukuthi silalele ukuthi hayi no maskandi yini. We need data on it. So umuntu mayizalwa, it's like a cassette enganalutho. And then the environment gives him data from a psychological point of view. It feeds him. So these things that I was referring to earlier on, these formative years where wayibona nje violence, witness, and it was accepted and all that is ingrained in his
and how do you undo that?
Therapy, right? So therapy is the only solution that can unearth those activities, those kind of teachings, ill teachings that you voluntarily learned them.
Yeah.
Remember, it's what was presented to you.
Yeah.
So voluntary. If you don't do nothing about the situation, it then defaults to something. So these teachings that he or she was seeing in the environment And if they don't do nothing about them, they remain in their unconscious memory. And the body, because it knows it, but because you're living at a conscious memory, you don't know it. That it is a loaded data that is going to cause you to act in a way that actually it's a predisposition towards violence and anger. It's a loaded program that is just with them. But now only therapy that can actually unearth that, and you're able to
ukukhuluma ngeenkinga zami nje kuphela ngizokuxoxela ukuthi phela uma wayishaya ubaba or noma ubaba wayishaya uma kuyangilungisa lokho
kuzokulungisa, because deep down in you, you know that was wrong.
Yes.
So the mere fact that you are able to talk about those feelings for the first time in your life, it releases something.
That's good.
It unlocks some psychological positioning in your head that ultimately, remember, those memories are painful memories.
Yes.
And memories goes with emotions, right? So when you tap into a negative emotions, when you take into a negative memory, it unlocks negative emotions. Hence you would cry. When you cry, then you are actually correcting that memory to say, I've dealt with that. You know, I've seen umamesha ubaba, but I've dealt with that. I've spoke to someone. I've done something good. I've actually confronted that negative emotions and etc. So it helps. It helps because it takes you out of your internal prison.
Is it possible for me ngikhuliswe kahle ngiqala ama patterns amasha mhlawumbe kade ngekho emndenini wami?
Yes.
Ngikhuliswe kahle mhlawumbe ngifunde kahle, but at the age of 35 ngijole lentombazane ethi sixabane ngiyishaya.
Yes.
Is it possible that we learn violence even on social media?
Yes.
We learn,
yes.
We're not necessarily from an upbringing perspective.
Yes. Yes.
Is it possible to start behavioral patterns esibadala?
Yes.
Esingafundanga.
Yes.
Formative years?
So you see, personality normally is explained as a relatively stable behavior. Right? So, but it differs with people. Some level of violence will be at moderate. Some will be at moderate severe. Some will be at severe.
Yes.
So, but that doesn't mean that moderate
is nothing.
It's nothing. It's there. You understand what I mean?
That's very good.
Yeah, it's there. So you're gonna ignite it. You think it trigger. You understand what I mean?
Yeah,
so that trigger can be social media. That trigger can be your close friends. That trigger can be whatever that you read. So whatever that you expose yourself to in terms of because ingqondo is just there. It's a sponge that absorbs everything, good or bad.
If I want to sit with you and start discussing, if I want to prepare to go to therapy, no one ever prepared me when I was going to therapy with
Yes. Yes.
And so I want you to prepare someone who wants to start their first day at therapy. Before we started filming, you said there's 1 in 1,000 people.
Therapists.
One therapist. Against 1,000 people.
Exactly, and the ratio is growing every day.
Every day.
Yeah.
If I want to start going to therapy, how do I need to prepare myself? If I'm going to see a clinical psychologist,
yes.
If I'm going to sit in a session with a counselor, what do I need to think about to prepare myself for a session?
Now the problem is that preconception of thinking that, okay, this is the box that I'm going to talk about this and nothing else. Remember, your life is broad. It's sometimes there are things, like you were saying earlier on, that there are things that you have forgotten from your past.
Yes.
But if you go to therapy, you unearth those issues and then you are oh God, and you find yourself. So I'll say, go to therapy with an open mind, with a mind of willing to learn, with a mind of trying something new. Remember your mind and your body, and I must explain that the coordination between the mind and the body, right? So the mind teaches the body, right? That if I am like this, this is what I need.
Sure.
You understand? If I'm triggered like this, the body should actually react like this, right? So the violence also as well is exactly like that. ukuthi if someone is saying, hey Khaya, he was ugqoka why ugqoka kanje namhlanje, when all you know, the body, your body with your mind, that coordination only knows violence, only knows that I should respond like that, no matter the trigger, no matter how small. And then it explains exactly that, because all he knows, the body knows that. Exactly, you know. So that is what I can say, that if you go to therapy, go there with an open mind, be willing to learn. It's a new world altogether, because remember, you've been directing this movie of your life. Now you need a co-pilot, you know, in terms of, and this co-pilot is not going to tell you word by word what to do, but they're going to create an environment where you would start to realize that in actual fact, I was approaching these issues in a wrong way. We call it in therapy cognitive thoughts. You know, for example, we say it's not the event that affects you, it's how you respond to the event. Exactly. So those cognitive thoughts, you know, can either be, you know, cognitive distorted thoughts, you know, meaning that you're approaching issues from a negative side of the every time. And you also have, you know, positive, you know, approach to life. You know, there is a new phenomena in psychology that was actually introduced by Prof. Seligman from America that focuses on positive side of life, because it's there. Things that we take for granted, such as hope, such as courage, such as emotional intelligence, right? So me and you would actually respond differently on the same event. Right? If we get retrenched, both of us today would respond differently.
Correct.
Exactly. That speaks to our emotional intelligence. That speaks to our courage. That speaks to our hope about life. With something great, you know, is coming. I just need to align myself and keep working for that thing. That is positive psychology. We are then in therapy taking you from this illness negative model of living into a positive you know, world of living, where we talk about optimism, you know, talk about courage, we talk about hope and positive mindset to say, this is how you must approach life. If you approach it like that, you thrive.
That's good.
Yeah.
Talk to us about Sesvala, about cloud therapy. How can people access these services and start, you know, you got to Kuluma earlier with me, Uguti. It's so important that we start using technology to enhance and better access to AMA services. How can people get in contact with cloud therapy, and what does it do? Why should people do cloud therapy instead of going the normal way?
So you see, we stand for targeted care. We of the notion that people are from different backgrounds and the trauma is different. So when you come to cloud therapist, we put you on what we call psychological screening, psychological assessment, right? So we assess you on your previous trauma, we assess you on the substance abuse, we assess you on even GPV, we assess you on depression and anxiety. And then we have an output in terms of report and in terms of scale, where you are on these issues, from minimal, mild, moderate, severe, and severe. And what is more important is that with these instruments, that's before therapy. That's just us digging into you. With these instruments, we are able to detect and pick up what are the prevailing issues from all these issues that I've just stated, depression, anxiety, we're able to pick it up. And then that then informs the care that you must get. Then you get personalized care. So cloud therapy stands for that, that you're not just coming to therapy because you're coming to therapy, but you're coming to therapy to find yourself. So we give you that personalized care, and then after screening, then we also look at the profile of the screening and allocate you a therapist that suits your output. You are likely then to succeed, because the first thing then on the first session we deal with issues that you are struggling with without having to wait for you.
That's good.
We call that proactive care, proactive counseling. That is our approach. Yeah, well, we are here in Durban, Windermere, You can check us out. Email is care@cloudtherapist.co.za, and our WhatsApp line is 076 6035 545. You can call that number or WhatsApp it, and follow us on our WhatsApp channel, social media platform, Instagram, Facebook, and etc.
Sabelo, thank you for your time.
Thank you, my brother.
Really, always insightful.
Thank you so
chilling
much.
with you, just looking at how you look at life. I think that so during this time, as we are talking about all these issues that are surrounding us as a society, I want you to talk to yourself. I want you to ask yourself, am I okay? Do I need help? Do I need to visit certain issues in Glulagona? Do I need to visit my past? Do I need to look at my behaviors now? Let's use platforms like Cloud Therapist to make sure we've got access to helping ourselves. This is Elevate. I hope that this conversation has elevated your life. Namhlanje. Keep it locked right here on Gagasi FM. Njalo Zwathola Lama Conversations. Thank you.
Thank you.